Hi yogis! Today's class is going to be a Tabata Yoga class infused with power yoga. Think of it more along the lines of fitness and building strength as opposed to restorative, which is going to be holding poses for a long period of time. I suggest having a water bottle nearby so that way you stay hydrated. And I suggest the following two props. The first is a block, because we're going to be using that later. If you don't have a block, you can also use a towel. Can work really good for what we're going to be using this block for. So a towel or a block. And then if you want to make this a little bit more challenging, you can wear ankle weights. The highest I would recommend going would be a pound. So a pound or 2 pounds. 1 or 2. So just know that that option is available. For our class today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different in the fact that I'm going to go over alignment cues and kind of the sequence that we're going to be flowing, and then we're just going to go right into it with music. And again, it's going to be 30 on, 10 off, and just continuous doing that exercise or asana for the 30 seconds, and then taking a break and transitioning to our next posture. So that's the game plan, and as always, please practice ahimsa, modify your movements as necessary to make it a safe practice. We're going to start in Tadasana today, something a little different, starting in standing. Here we go. So we're going to start off in Tadasana, mountain pose for pranayama today. Take one hand over the heart and then the other one resting on top. Take a nice slow deep breath in. You can do this with your eyes closed or finding a drishti point of focus out in front of you that provides stability. Nice deep breath in. As you exhale, draw the shoulders away from the ears. Just let out a nice audible sigh. Doing that one more time. Nice deep breath in. And exhale, sigh out through the mouth. Taking a body scan as you do one more inhale. Notice any areas of tension, stress, and use that as a guide to modify your movements today. And exhale. Releasing your day and stepping onto your mat into your yoga practice. Begin to inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Interlace the fingertips. We're going to release our pointer finger, so just so you can see, since my arms are out of frame, and our thumbs are going to cross over. And we're going to reach over, forming like a half moon. We did this in our full sun salutation, or not our full sun salutation, but our moon salutation, slow flow. And then bring it back up, and then we're going to switch over towards the other side, just stretching out the side body. And then come back towards the center and exhale, release the hands on down by our side. Our hands can be down by our side or they can be on our hips. Our first pose today is going to work the outside of our hips, and it's just going to warm up the body as well before we move into any other asana. So what we're going to do is we're going to move over towards one side of our mat, and we're going to be facing the side of our mat to start, and we're going to act as if we're picking up our leg to step over something. So we're going to pick up our leg, step over something, and our other leg's going to follow through, and it's just going to tap, and then it's going to lift up, tap, lift up, and tap. And you don't have to lift your leg very high, as we're going to be repeating this multiple times today. But as high as comfortable for you. And we want to try and keep that nice bend in the knee at like a 90-degree out in front of us. Almost think of it, if I was to turn sideways, as if I was doing like high knees. Like if my hands were out in front, I could hit. Good. So that's the first exercise that we're going to do. The second exercise is we're going to turn and face the side. And we're going to come into a chair pose. So I'm going to take my sit bones back. I'm going to engage my core muscles so they can navel to spine. So there's no rounding here, and at the same time I'm not overly extending and arching my lower back. I'm really engaging my core, and my neck is a length out of this, or an extension out of it. So that my head's not compressing either way, it's just a nice extension. A good point of focus that I suggest is looking towards the top of your mat. And then from here we're going to bring our hands to a prayer, and then we're going to slide down, sink a little deeper, and we're going to bring our forearms onto our thighs. And we're just going to hold here. We're going to do this for 30 seconds. almost as if you're like skiing down a hill. And if you want to, you can always add weights to this as well. You could do like bicep curls, triceps, always ways to add. And then we'll come back up, and now we're going to add to that sequence. So we're going to dip down to where we were, and when we do that, our hands are going to come up, and then we're going to swoop back and we're going to lift one of our knees. And our knees is going to be in line with our hip, and then our foot's going to be in line with our knee. So there's that 90-degree angle, and then I'm going to come back to my starting point. On my exhale, inhale, come back up, and exhale. So I have choices with my arms. I can choose to use my arms, or I can choose not to use my arms. So our arms beforehand were here, and then down, and then here, and then down. So lots of different variations. If you have any knee pain with chair pose, you can always turn this into a different variation. You can hold here, trying to squeeze your forearms into your thighs. And then for your leg extensions, you can alternate and switch. And then there's not weight bearing on your knees. So just know that for those first two asana, after our cardio or increasing our heart rate, that those are two options available to you. And then we're going to move on to Warrior One. So we're going to find ourselves into a mountain pose. And you can choose to do Warrior One in this, or you can choose to do a high lunge with the back knee bent and hovering. Again, we're getting more into the legs. So I'm going to take one leg back, and I'm going to bend into that front knee, and then I'm going to hover, and I'm going to make sure that my front foot is flat, my knee isn't going past my heel, and my back leg is kind of making like this double 90 shape. So this is one variation with the legs. If you're feeling unstable in that, then you're going to go into Warrior One. Not a wide Warrior One. More of a narrow stance. Our back foot is at a 45-degree angle, and my hips are going to square off towards the front. My knee is going to stay bent, and it's going to be right over that heel, and I'm doing the exact same arms that I would if I was doing this variation. So if you, again, have any knee pain and lunges aren't your friend, I suggest a Warrior One stance that's narrower. That's going to help. And then we're going to do cactus arms. So I'm going to kneel down just so that way you can see my arms. But this is what they're going to be doing. My thumb and my pointer finger are going to connect. I'm going to go out to a 90-degree angle where my wrists are aligned with my elbows, and then I'm going to press up. So that's what I'm going to be doing in my lunge or my warrior pose. Okay? We'll do 30 seconds on one side, and then we'll switch, and we'll do 30 seconds on the other side. And then we'll find our way towards the top of our mat. We'll fold forward. We'll come up halfway, and we'll release. Take one leg back, the other leg back, top of a push-up, and then we're going to drop into a tabletop position. Okay. So for those of you who, again, you don't want to put a lot of weight on your knees, this is a great alternative for this pose. You lay on your side, you lift out of your lower abdominals, your obliques, and your elbow's going to be in line with your shoulder. And you're going to lift your feet, and you're going to open and close your knees. Okay? So just know that this is a variation to our tabletop variation that we're going to do. When we find our tabletop variation, our hands are going to be right underneath our shoulders, a little bit of space in between our fingertips, knees in line with shoulders. And then from here, we're going to transfer our weight over towards the left side, and our right knee is going to hover, and it's going to open off towards the side and close. So we're going to do one side with music, and then we're going to switch and we're going to do mountain climbers. So we're going to come up into a push-up position, and we're going to hug our knee in, and we're going to switch and alternate before we go towards the other side, where we now transfer our weight over towards the right, and we lift our left knee, hovering just a little bit. And then we come back to a tabletop position. And we're going to come down onto our forearms. We're going to connect our palms. So a couple of variations is to have your forearms all the way flat on the ground or on your mat, or bring your palms together. So if you don't want any weight variation, you can always do fist connecting. From here, we're gonna do what's called London bridges, and we're just gonna alternate swiveling our heels from side to side, and we're gonna lift our hips from side to side. Then after that, we're gonna move on to our stomachs for a cobra pose. So we're gonna find ourselves laying on our stomachs. We're gonna take our fingertips out wide. We're gonna lift our elbows, and we're gonna do 6, looking towards one elbow, lifting our gaze, looking towards the other, and then coming back down. This is great if you're hunched over at a computer chair. It really opens up the clavicle, collarbone to collarbone. You feel like you're slouching a lot. 6 the other way. Inhale, your breath comes up. Exhale, you turn your gaze and you go back down. When we come back down, hands come in. And during our 10-second rest, we're going to come into a child's pose. Just as a nice little counter pose to that. After our 10-second rest there, we're going to come into a side plank. So there's 2 ways to do a side plank. Coming into a tabletop position. We're going to turn our left leg perpendicular, so that way it's parallel towards the mat, the front edge of the mat, but perpendicular towards the side. And then we're going to take our right leg and we're going to extend it straight, and then we're going to bring our arm on up. And then we're just going to bring our arm up overhead and back, feeling that length and expansion through the side body. So this is one variation. The second variation, you can play with lifting one leg, you can plant both legs. There's a lot of fun different variations that we can do to work with that. We're going to come into a toe squat. So we're going to tuck the toes under, little pinky toes, and we're doing a nice little shoulder stretch, 6 seconds on each side. Alternating. And then we'll make our way onto our backs. Here we're going to work our core a little bit more, and we're going to do bicycles, alternating. Trying to get our elbow connected to our knee or on the outside. And we also don't want to crunch here. We want a little bit of space between our chin and our chest. So there's this expansion and this gaze that's looking out as opposed to down. So you want to be looking somewhere out towards your ceiling or towards the sky if you're practicing today outside. And then we have bridge marches. We're going to plant down our palms. We're going to lift our hips, and we're going to alternate lifting. One leg and the next. And then for our final one, we're going to use a block. We're going to put it right in between our feet. And we're going to squeeze that block while we're in Supta Baddha Konasana, a reclined bound angle pose. We're going to squeeze that block. Option to just hold here, kind of rest that heart rate, or you can squeeze and lift that block. You can also play with straightening and bringing it back in. That's probably going to be the most challenging out of them all. So a little variation of both. You can choose to just hold here for 30 seconds, lift and hold, or extend out and back in. And then we'll do that whole sequence one more time. So I know I went through that a little fast, but at least we kind of introduced all of those exercises in asana in our body and kind of reviewed kind of the alignment and where we're going with it. So that way you're not totally confused when we do it with music. So starting with the top, we'll go with our hip side extension or side marches. Here we go.
4, 3, 2, 1, go! Round 1.
Guys are doing good.
3, 2, 1, go!
Moving into chair pose. adding the leg in for our chair pose.
3, 2, 1, go! Round 3.
Warrior one or lunge. Cactus arms. Engaging our core.
3, 2, 1, go! Round
You guys are doing good. Warrior one lunge on the other side, cactus arms.
3, 2, 1, go! Round 5.
Reach on it. Pull forward. Come up halfway. Find your way to a tabletop position.
3, 2, 1, go! Round 6.
Rolling shoulders up and back.
3, 2, 1,
Mountain climbers. Alternate.
round 7.
Remember to breathe. Engage those core.
3, 2, 1, stop.
Rolling out those wrists. Roll the other way.
4,
Tabletop, other
3,
side.
2, 1, go! Round 8. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Going down to the forearm London bridges.
Welcome to Tabata.
Extending one leg.
5, 4,
Alternating between legs.
round 1.
Making our way onto our stomachs. Cobra. Fingertips.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Round 2.
Other way.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop.
Making our way back up. Child's pose before side plank.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Round 3.
You can also choose to hover the leg. Remember to breathe.
3, 2, 1,
You're
stop.
doing great. Other side.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Round 4.
One arm across.
3, 2, 1, go.
And switch, other side.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Bicycles.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Getting ready for bridge marches. Plant hands down, lift hips. Engaging that core. Rolling down, grabbing your block. Bound ankle pose.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Squeeze the block. See the hands on the outside. Bring your knees on up. Rock back and forth, back and forth. We're doing a whole thing again. Bring the hands on the hips.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Here we go. Chair pose.
Round 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Can you wiggle those toes?
3, 2, 1, stop.
Alternating leg chair.
Round 3. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Warrior one or lunge.
5,
Cactus arms.
3, 2, 1, go.
Get ready for the second side.
Halfway there. 3, 2, 1, go.
Reach those arms on up. Fold
Round
forward.
6.
Coming up halfway.
5,
Moving to a tabletop
3, 2,
position.
1, go.
Roll the wrists.
Round 7.
Roll the wrists stretching out
Last one.
those wrists.
5, 4,
Tabletop, other
3,
side.
2, 1, go.
Setting up for London Bridge, forearms.
Welcome to Tabata.
Extend one leg back.
Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Round 1. 3, 2, 1.
Lower all the way down. Cobra pose, shoulders lift.
3, 2, 1, go.
Circle.
Round 2.
Child's pose. Before side plank.
3, 2, 1, go.
Really lift over the overhead. You can do it. Setting up for the other side.
3, 2, 1, go. Round 4.
Toe squat. Include the little pinky toe. Sit bones on heels. Shoulder stretch. Switch other side. Making our way onto our backs for bicycles, bridges, and our last bound eagle pose. Hands behind head. Lifting hips. Grabbing our block, placing it in between our feet. Down angle pose. Squeezing the block. Taking the hands on the outside of the knees, bringing them on up, bringing the block to you, and release the block behind your head. Bring the hands around the shins, moving the knees in a circle, massaging out the lower back. Change of breath, change the rotation. plant one foot, keep your right knee in and circle the ankle. Ankle the other way. Extend the leg up towards the sky, take hold of the hamstrings. Draw the shoulders down. Point and flex, flossing the nerves. Switch, we're going to do the same thing other side. Bring the left knee in, circle at the ankle. Change your breath, change the rotation. Extend, take hold of the hamstrings. Point and flex, point and flex. And bring it on down. Take your feet out wide, knees touching. A little internal rotation, just turn the head. Bring the head back up towards the center. Drop the head over towards the other side. Inhale, bring the head back up towards the center. Tuck chin to chest, remove your block off towards the side, or even your towel, and roll it back down. Heel toe, feet back in. Hug knees into towards the chest. Drop the knees towards one side, reclining twist, arms can go out. Take one of your hands and just press lightly on that hip. Just this gliding down motion. And at the same time, think about expanding that left shoulder down. Really grounding. And then inhale, bring the knees back up. Exhale, draw the knees down over towards the other side. Bring the arms out to reclining twist. Same thing, you can do a self-adjustment by taking the left hand towards that right hip and just pressing diagonally down on the outside of the hip. And as you do that, think about grounding through that shoulder. Just using your breath nice and slow. Doesn't have to be a rough touch. It's just a guide to find that lengthening going on through the side body. And an inhale, bring the knees back up towards the center. Happy baby pose, extend the legs up towards the sky, flex the feet, bring the knees back towards your armpit. Either hold on to the hamstring, the calf, or wrap around towards the outside of your feet. Really important here that we're not scooping the lower back. Instead, we're drawing the tailbone down towards our mat. Shoulders relax. Maybe even bring a rocking motion side to side. On your exhalation, bring that rocking to a close. Remove the hands from the feet. If you're cold, you can add some layers for Shavasana, corpse pose. Feel free to move into any other postures you feel that you need during your practice. You can always pause the video. And when you're ready, begin to straighten one leg, the next. Allow the palms to face up, shoulders to draw back. You can keep the eyes open or gently close the eyes. It's entirely up to you and your practice today. And to wiggle the jaw side to side. Allow a little bit of space between the upper and lower jaw. Relax all the muscles of the face, all the muscles in the upper and lower arms, all muscles surrounding the torso and the spine. the hips, upper and lower legs, and all 10 toes. The whole right side of the body relaxed, the whole left side of the body relaxed, allowing the whole body to relax. Just taking this time for yourself. Also allowing the body to recover. Be here for 3 more rounds of breath. If you need a longer time in Shavasana, again, you can always pause the video. Begin to gently wiggle fingers and toes, bring movement back to the body. Begin to invite one positive thought. Allow the edges of the mouth to curl up to create a smile, and use that positive energy to find your way to a comfortable seat on your mat. Making sure to hydrate after this practice. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your yoga journey. The light in me honors that positive light within each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you.